Okay guys, so here we are. We are in the Classic Quarter Qualifier number 2, and this is round 2, and my opponent is caliban17, and he is on the Beast Affinity. For the viewers who are unaware, I have had great difficulty with Affinity in competitive play. I've never actually beaten it with Stax, so this is going to be a difficult matchup for me. I think basically the keys to beating Affinity are Skull Clamp is just the one card that you absolutely have to stop because it's fuel, and they've got so many little pesky critters that they can sack to the Skull Clamp and replenish their hand. So that's one of the keys. I think for me, basically what I need to do to win this match is I can take the meta worker approach. This will help me power out some of my bigger creatures that my deck has versus what Affinity has with small pesky creatures. I also have the combination of Metal Worker and Staff of Domination. Of course, Revoker is the key to stopping that for him. Well, I need to avoid early landy. Getting out a workshop only type hand and an opener is extremely dangerous against that type of deck. And as well, I've got a pretty good high density creature package in my sideboard this time for Affinity. I'm running a couple precursors which are very good against him, as he only has Dismember to remove and Wormcoils and Duplicates. So let's see how it goes. We've got the play here, which is important, so let's see what we get for an opener. So this is actually a pretty good opener for us. It's a very dangerous hand in the sense that basically we have to lead with a Mishra's Workshop and play a Trinisphere just to try and bog him down in hopes of being able to avoid one of his wastelands. We do have 2 lands here to try and get over our own Trinisphere in time. We should be able to do that. Worst case scenario, it gets blown up, and if it doesn't, then we can lead out with a Mishra's Factory and a Lodestone and hopefully tie him down with a port from there. So I think we'll hold this. Trinisphere is one of the best cards that you can have against Affinity. The only way they're able to get through that is if they have their own workshop. So let's roll the dice and see how this goes. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. It's about as good as a start as you can have against Affinity. So he's got his own workshop. The good news is this does not allow him to power things out at a really high speed. And our Tangle Wire is going to be pretty good in this situation. Okay. So let's see what we can do here. Okay. So we can do one of 2 things here. Hopefully he doesn't have another workshop here. Maybe Tangle Wire is a good way to go here. Trying to slow him down a little bit. He will get probably 2 creatures. If he has another workshop here, this could be really difficult for me. I think I am going to play my Lodestone here. I just think it's the stronger play. And hopefully I can... he doesn't have another workshop here, so we can't play 2 creatures. Because every one of his creatures, of course, costs 3 with a Trinisphere. In addition to the Tangle Wire not being so good on this play is I would likely have to tap my Trinisphere here with the Tangle Wire because I wouldn't be able to advance myself any further because all my lands would be tapped down. And once you tap down the Trinisphere, that means, he can play another Mishra's Workshop and be able to cast things uninhibited, because when you tap a Trinisphere, it negates its effect. And if for whatever reason he does get down a wasteland or something here, I'm still able to beat down pretty good, and hopefully I'll draw a land sometime in the next 2 turns. So he did have one of the worst scenarios there. He's got 2 workshops, and he's going to get himself out a bunch of creatures here, which is unfortunate because this will negate my Lodestone. So pretty good starter from Caliban there. He's going to have 3 creatures on the board to my 2, and you know, he'll have to trade here, but I do think I have to attack into them. So he's likely going to choose Metalworker here, would be my guess. Which is a good play from him. So there's a Chalice of the Void. Unfortunately, Chalice of the Void is not overly good in this situation because he's already established a board presence to some extent. But you know, what we're looking to do with Chalice here is we can do one of two things. We can set it at 1 right now, which will take away his Sigil Pests and his Skull Clamps, which is very good. Or we can set it at 2, which will take away his, you know, Revokers, Overseers, and Ravagers. So all of those cards are extremely dangerous for us. So I think first things first, let's attack in here. And we'll see what happens. So that's a pretty good play. He's just chump blocking. So I can actually set my Chalice at 1, and I can Rashidun port one of his lands, which is decent. So, you know, my hope being that he's got Signal Pests or something in his hand, that and Skull Clamps, and he's going to try and go that route. So maybe we can shut him down. So why don't we do that? Oops. Cost 1 to get that down. Of course, he could still have Memnites, and he can still have 2-drops here to get over, but I think this is a pretty reasonable plan here. And what we're going to do is we're going to port down one of his workshops here, and hopefully this will stop him from casting a Lodestone. Or okay, so he's got a Strip Mine here, which definitely hurts us. He's cast a Sigil Pest into my Chalice, which is really good for us. And he's attacking, so now there's one of our game winners. The unfortunate thing is we were very far away from being able to cast that. So the question here lies, do we actually want to try and beat down with Factory, or is it more important to take his land away right now? Because we can put him 7-8 here, but he has the opportunity to cast 2 creatures next turn. So I think we're gonna just attack here with the Golem and the Mirror. Which might be wrong. I'm not sure what's the right play here, but trying to keep him off his stuff is pretty important here, as much as we can. Like, he may have Lodestone Golems in hand, you know, Memory Jar, something like that. So we'll see what he does here. Okay, so that's a good one. I mean, basically we really need to draw some land here is what we need, because it makes it difficult now for us to win. Okay, Mana Crypt is a really dangerous card for us to get here. We can't actually even cast it because of the Trinisphere, but you know, this may be able to ramp us into something. Unfortunately, I think we have to sit back right now. We cannot attack. So that's going to be our game plan here. Just going to pass turn, and we will I don't think it's worth tapping his stuff down right now. Maybe it is. He didn't play a land, so he's probably got reasonable spell density here. Yeah, I think we do. I think we just try and stall him out here as much as we can. He's still able to play a creature a turn as things stand right now, which is definitely advances his board well. Okay, and the Ravager's a good one here. Big time good. So as you can see, this is typically what Affinity does to you. It just grinds you out, and you know, time is on his side for sure. So we are going to block his Metalworker here, and we're going to, actually what we'll do, we will put this against this, this against this, and we'll do some trade-off here. We took a couple damage. Let's hope we can get a workshop here. I think that would be huge for us. Another Sol Ring. Okay, so unfortunately we're dying a fast death here because we can't get Sol Ring's actually useless because of our Chalice. So we're pretty much dead now. We've been land screwed, and we have not topped well in the land category here. And I think that, you know, we had a pretty good outing on this particular game against Affinity. We certainly had our chance, and it's just unfortunate it's, you know, he's gotten away from us. He does run more creatures pre-board than we do, but we're much closer post-board. So I think we can probably pack it in here. We're pretty much dead. We'll see what he does. Yeah, I mean, we are just dead. So we can move along here. Okay, so that did not work out well. Not unexpected. As I've said, this is an extremely difficult match. So my line of thinking in this match here is Ratchet Bomb's going to be pretty good. Precursor Golems are very good. We basically want our creature package in there to try and shore things up. Unfortunately, a lot of our creatures are really expensive, and it's difficult to cast them against the Wastelands, the Strip Mine, and the Revokers, but you know, we're just going to do the best we can. I think I'm going to take my Thorns out and a Sphere. Basically, my reasoning for playing the Spheres over the Thorns is he runs more creatures than he does spells in his deck, and creatures are the things that I think are the major threats. So you know, Sphere will slow his creatures down, where Thorns will not. It's debatable because this actually slows me down more as well, unless I've got Metalworkers, so which can be painful. So that might be reason alone to actually play the Thorns. Yeah, I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going down here. Like I've actually brought in a Caracas to have a little bit of extra land against him, and I've basically taken all my Spheres out against him. I'm just going to try and race him with bigger creatures, and hopefully my Chalices can shut him down. I am keeping the Staffs in there. They're not very good, but one of the ways that I can actually beat this deck, Affinity, if he doesn't have a Revoker down, is, and I can have an unresolved Metalworker without a Revoker on it, I can just combo him out, and I think it's worth the gamble. So let's take it in and see how it goes. Let's hope we can have a good opener. Yeah, so this is a really good opener for us. Okay. I think we do have to watch for Wastelands here again, but we're not going to not play a turn 1 Metalworker. I mean, basically, if he Wastelands my Workshop and he leaves my Metalworker alone, then the Metalworker is going to power out all my stuff here. I also have the combo if I draw another artifact, and if he revokes the Metalworker, then I still have a Workshop, and you know, I can cast a Lodestone. So this is another good hand. really nice having a workshop in your opener. It makes just such a difference. With a metalworker to boot. So let's see how this goes. Now the ideal would be here is that he leaves my metalworker alone, I draw an artifact, and I can combo out. So he is casting a signal pest here. Wow, okay, so we've got a great start here. Okay, so unfortunately we did not draw the combo piece, okay, but we're going to leave that alone. We're not going to show him the staff here. Actually, the staff is irrelevant at this stage in the game because I am going to be powering stuff out right now. So basically, yeah, I mean, this is what we're going to do. So hopefully he doesn't have Dismember, because Dismember would just kill my entire board. But I mean, we just got to go for it. There's just no choice. So that's unfortunate we didn't land the combo there, but we just got to go for it. And, yeah, I think we'll just wasteland his land there. He may have been playing coy against me. But not much we can do about that. So, just some idle chat here. Hopefully, Dismember is the card I think we're most scared of here. It absolutely cleans our board out and we're pretty much dead in the water. But, so it looks like we got a good game here, which is great. So that's kind of an example of how our deck can come out quite nicely against Affinity, in the sense that, you know, cards like Precursor Golem are very good against him. He doesn't really have a way to remove them other than Dismember. And also, it's an example of how Affinity is a human deck sometimes, because it just doesn't always belch its stuff out on the table. So I think I had a great opener there, and my opponent did not have one. And I think we need to see a second coming of that here to take home this match. So here's the hoping. I have never been able to slay the beast before in competitive play, and I'm hoping today's the day. So let's take it in and see what happens. So this, unfortunately, is not a very good hand, and I think it's one that's extremely difficult for us to keep. Particularly because we just don't have proper ramp. Caliban has kept his hand, which is pretty scary. I do think we have to mulligan this hand. Just, it's not good enough. This, on the other hand, is very good. So this is obviously an extremely high-risk hand to hold here, because it's that classic scenario where you've got one Mishra's Workshop in your hand, and, you know, I can play a Metalworker, which is which is fine if the metalworker or the Mishra's workshop is left unmolested. But if he gets my workshop and, you know, like he plays a turn 1 revoker and the next turn he gets my workshop, then I'm in a lot of trouble. But inversely, much like the first game, if he doesn't have those pieces in his hand, then this can work out really well for me. I do have the ability to get down a turn 1 lodestone here, and but I think the metalworker has to be the play in light of the fact we have 1 Mishra's workshop in hand, so we will not mulligan. So it looks like he's going to have a pretty fast start here. Okay, so that's a nice start for him. And that's pretty nice. So I think what we're going to do here is I think we're going to play a Rashidun Port, and we're going to play a Mana Crypt, and we're going to get down a metalworker here and hope that he does not have the piece, the revoker, okay, and or any land destruction. And if he doesn't, then we will obviously come out with a Worm Coil next turn. And this protects our Mishra's Workshop. And of course, we're also playing with fire with a dangerous Mana Crypt here, but that's just the way she goes sometimes. So let's get down the metalworker and let's cross our fingers. You know, we could be in pretty good shape here. Worm Coil is extremely difficult for Affinity to deal with. So we certainly need some things to go right for us here. Okay. Okay, so he's digging, which is it's not great for us, but it's not terrible either. You know, sometimes they just miss. So what we don't want to see here is a revoker. And that's likely what he's trying to dig for. Okay, so we got a lodestone. Let's hope we can win here. Great. So this is really excellent for us. This is really excellent. The only thing that would have been better to draw there would have been the staff. But regardless, let's tap our metalworker here. And we will play a workshop. Tap the workshop. Playing Worm Coil, which is really, really good for us. This leaves us with 5 mana. And yeah, I think we're just really, we need to get this thing out there. And yeah, I guess we're just going to play a Tango Wire here, I think is the correct play, because it shuts down a lot of what he's trying to do. So Tango Wire should be pretty good here. As I say, this Worm Coil should be quite difficult. one thing I've learned about Affinity is you never take it lightly. Even when you think it's down, it can still come back. So he's done a good play here. He's drawing lots of cards off a skull clamp, and he's going to be able to kill one of my my death worm coils, or worm coil engines. Excuse me. So let's win again, which is great. And we need to tap 3 things here. So let's see what he does here. He has to block. Well, he doesn't have to, but it's prudent when you're drawing cards. So this is quite a difficult situation because he's going to tap down 3 things, so probably what he'll do is leave his workshop. He will probably have another land in his hand to do his work for him. Where the question lies is do we play out a Trinisphere, inhibiting him from belching things out onto the table, or do we come out with power in a lodestone? I think the Trinisphere is the right play here. Let's do that. And let's hope. Yeah, Caliban saying, ouch, nice draw. So I do agree with him. That's definitely the right one to take, to tap. So this is a pretty big sequence for me here. If he doesn't power anything out on me, which I do not anticipate him being able to do here, we're in an extremely strong position to win this match. So he's got a Revoker down, which doesn't seem very good. Mana Crypt. Okay, well, that makes the decision easy that we're tapping that to our Tangle Wire. He's got a Wasteland, so he's able to get out a... So that's it. That's actually a good card for him. Because it allows him to chump and get back in the game again. Which does worry me a little bit. Ghost Quarter is actually a pretty good card here. He's got double Wasteland. The question is, do I go with my Metal Worker here as well? Just to block that, so that would be 12. 13. Maybe 7, which would mean that I can throw more, but I can't tap down a land. You see, if I tap down his Cradle here, and I tap down his workshop. That's pretty good. So I think that the right play is to actually cast Golem with my metalworker. I am going to ghost quarter his workshop. And so yeah, we're not going to attack with that. Let's just go in with our guys here. And that might be wrong, but I feel like it's... Okay, let's put him at 7, so let's do this. Oh, unfortunately I can't do both. I wasn't thinking about that. So he has 1 creature right now. He's going to tap down 2 things. So this will give him 3 land, enough to cast 1 thing over our Trinosphere. And so I think that's the right play. What I'm going to do is I'm actually, because you never know. Actually, I do know what this guy's deck is. I was going to say, you never know if they're running a basic in there. I think I am just going to actually ghost quarter his Mishra's Workshop here. Yeah. That's the right play. Next turn to import him. See, the thing is, he'll be able to get a creature out this turn and a token, which blocks our big guys. We're coming through with a good-sized army here, so and I think this is make it or break it for him here as well. So he may have a workshop in hand, which would be good for him to help get over. So no, he can cast 1 thing, 3 casting cost and under. Okay. And there you go, folks. For the first time ever with Stax, I have beat Affinity in competitive play. Well, that feels great. Alright folks, there you have it. 2-0 to start the tournament, and I slayed the beast.